Okay, let's get into the session. It's 12:01 sharp. So let's get started with that. Thanks for the people who have joined live. We are going to discuss about one of the most important challenge of to give parents. That is the digital screen time of our children. So today I'm going to share with you three science-based secrets. Yeah, secrets so that you could able to reduce your children's screen time by half in next 30 days. Yes. So, before even we jump into the topic, we all know the depth of the problem is still not known to us. Surface level, we knew that the digital time is harm, it's not good for health, but we again and again end up giving the mobile towards the kids, even it is overboard and it is over time. We knew that we have it happens. Why is that? Because many of the times parents says that they cannot able to handle the tantrum of the kids. Sometimes they don't have time to take a control of it, and certain parents also say that they do not want to be a bad cop or a bad parent towards them. They do not want it to be strict. So there are so many reasons like where though we wanted and though we know there is going to be some challenges because of this over screen times, we end up giving it to them and then we again feel about it. Impact of this digital is something which more than what we think beyond. So that is where I wanted to pick up this topic today. There are many researchers in the Western countries which has been done to understand the impact of it. If you could go and Google in YouTube iPad kids, you could able to see many of those videos because Western countries have started this. So people who were born in the era after 2010, they are called as this digital era kids because they are completely into this world with complete digital surrounded by them. And the challenges what they face is really very, very intense than what we think about. So it is our duty as a parent to step up and help our own children to make them overcome of this digital world. Are you all with me? Okay. So before I share with you the three secrets, I wanted to share you a story. Just picture this. There is a park and there is a 4-year-old kid playing in the park. He is very mischievous. He is very naughty. He is jumping around. He is not giving options to people. He is not obeying the cues. So he is very mischievous. And there is someone in the park who is passing out the comment saying like how dominant this child is, how they have brought up this child. It's very hard to play with this. And imagine this, the parents hear this comment that has been passed by the third person. Then the parent picks up the child from there. So the child is crying. They picked him up. They went to the home and then they started to shout at the kid, saying that how many ever times you said you how you'll have to behave, how you have to share things, how you have to be disciplined. And then the child cries, and then the parents try to raise their voice. Then it settles them out. At the end of the night, again the parents feel that they could have handled it in a different way, in a much calmer way, and then they feel guilt about it. And they also sometimes apologize to the kid. But if you think through, this pattern keeps repeating. So yelling at them, feeling bad the way we have treated them, or the way we could have better handled the situation, but still we'll end up doing things. So this pattern breaking is really become a very hard for parents. And that is where, while I was having a discussion with my friend, this question struck me out because she was preparing for one of the exams and she was trying to go to a coaching center and getting the acquired skills to pass through that exam. So, with that all complexity that what we have in parenting as well as the current environment that what we have for the children to grow up, are we equipped with the necessary skills to handle them? So this triggered me and made me to learn how should I handle my parenting journey very gracefully so that I can make this journey very smooth for my child and also make the best out of him and also out of me with zero stress, because only when we are in our own shoes realizing about us and calm we could able to nurture our child in a right. And then I enrolled into courses where I learned more about myself, and then I also learned how we'll have to bring in the kids. So I'm Shalini, a certified parenting coach and a working mom of 2 kids. And I wanted to serve the society, part of deep parenting. I'm part of deep parenting, which is serving millions of parents around 16 nations to navigate their parenting challenges through one-on-one consulting, webinars, and many live sessions as well. So being said that, before there are so many challenges, right, in parenting. It's about their nutrition, it's about their environment, it is about their academics, and many more, their friends, digital influence. There are so many things. It's actually an ocean, I'll have to say. But today we are going to speak about one specific issue, as I stated about before, about reducing the screen time by half. Okay, let's get into that. Before getting into the secret one, I want to say you a story. So there was a kid, and whenever the child is trying to look into the mobile or trying to play video games, when parents come and say, "Do stop it," the child starts to cry to the core. And then they try to plug it out from the son hand, and then he keeps crying. And at many a days, he also goes to sleep even without eating. And what happens at the end of the day, we again feel bad that the child has been crying because we wanted our children to be in a very good way and happy manner, right? But because of this digital and over screen times, we end up like there is a lot of chaos in our families. And after 30 days, this happened. Literally, this happened. When the parents said the child to keep the mobile down, the child actually kept the mobile down in a happy way and was started to converse with their parents. This is by that secret one, which we have asked them to implement it. That secret one is rebadging. Because many of the times, what happens if I ask you, like, how do you feel when your children is playing video games for 2 hours and looking into YouTube's and innumerous screen times? You will say, right? Either you're very depressed, you're very anxious, you're desperate, you get irritated, you wanted to shout, and you lose your control. Many of us have this because that is a greatest challenge for us to control our triggers. And because we know like this is the way we are going to react, we end up reacting that way. So the first thing that what we have to do is we'll have to rebadge ourselves. So we'll have to relabel. Sorry, instead of saying that I'll be triggered or I'll be angry, I'm going to shout at him, I knew, I end up losing my control. Try to consciously relabel yourself saying that I'm going to handle the situation gracefully in a calm and positive tone. So next 15 days, whenever you see your children is overdoing their screen times, even before passing any comment, even before asking them to keep down their mobiles or PlayStations, first do this rehearsal in your mind, saying that I'm going to handle this gracefully with a positive and calm tone. So do this for next 15 days and see the magic that happens. Because the reaction of our children is 50 percentage from the way we try to emote ourselves. So when we start to be calm and composed, the children also start to emote it. Either they turn back to you and say that, let me have some more time, or they also keep up the mobile. It's not just with this one secret, but after secret 2 and 3, you will know like how you enable it. But this first change, when you do it for next 15 days, believe me, it is going to make a huge impact. So the children would keep the mobile in a happier and healthier way without rebellions, without crying. So it gets gradually reduced. So do this consciously for next 15 days. And secret two is the secret where I'm going to say you about achieving this screen time reduction with zero cost and with the tools that is at a hand stretch distance from. Okay. So once we are trying to relabel ourselves and bring our mind to a condition that how are we going to handle this, the next is we will have to prepare our environment, our surroundings. So how do we able to execute it? So the first thing is you will have to discuss with your spouse that from now onwards we are going to place certain rules for digital screens in our home. Remember, you cannot just make a rule for your children. It has to be a rule for a family. That is really more important. By doing that, children do not feel that it is something that is just being pushed over to them, but it is a good norm that everybody has to follow. So do discuss with your spouse. And if you live in a joint family, do also discuss with your grandparents, saying that you wanted to implement it, that we are not going to see screens beyond 2 hours for non-office works, non-academic works, non-business activities. So the entertainment time of screens is going to be 2 hours, not more than 2 hours per day. And so once you have this agreement with the parent, with your spouse, and then grandparents, then have a conversation with your kid that we are going to follow this rule in our family. Normally, the children get rebellion when you give them something which when they didn't expect. While they are looking into something and while they are playing, and when you wanted to pick the gadget away from them, they get into complete rebellion mode and they will be outburst to express their emotions. Instead, follow this approach of preparing them. So you set them like this is the rule of our family, this is the context, and this is how we are going to manage digital screen time as a family hereafter. So make sure that you set the following rules that I'm going to share with you. And there is also a detailed video about quality screen time in our channel. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe it and look into that video, which says in detail about the rules that you have to follow. To just make it very crisp, let me repeat it here. So make sure you say to your kids that whenever they wanted to watch any screens, so they'll have to maintain a distance, which is 5 times the screen size. You knew the gadgets that is what available in your home, right? So specifically mention your kid if your TV screen is 40 inch, say them that is 40 inch into 5. So multiply that and say them like this is the feet in which you have to watch the TV. If it's going to be mobile or laptop, similarly make the same rules and make them understand it. So this is a rule of distance. And then you'll have to also make sure that the brightness rule. So the brightness of the screen shouldn't be more than 2x the actual brightness of the environment. So follow these rules and also share this with your children so that they are well aware of it. And then you also say them out of the 2 hours, definitely a gaming time should not be more than 30 minutes. And strictly 3D games are not allowed. And any games where there is a continuous movement of screen like running, jumping, and trying to handle something. So say them these kind of games are not allowed. And stay tuned in our channel where we will say about the games that you could recommend, a 2D visual games, which is going to be good for your children. So stay tuned. I'll also share you that list. And each and every time when a digital gadget is being used, try to have a note where you ask your kids and as well as you start to follow it. So any non-academic, non-office and non-business activities or any entertainment, try to make a log in that note. So 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and also make sure that you convey them at any point of time, not more than 20 minutes as a stretch is allowed. Okay. So make them a note of it and make it as a habit. And more importantly, you start to do it. And when you start to do it, slowly kids will also come into that rhythm. And end of the day, as a kind of family cuddling time on your bed, try to discuss about that. Look into the note and exchange each other like who has overdone and why it has been overdone. Because initially it's little hard for us to bring it under control. But see, like as a family, how you can help each other. Like reminding them, like even after the alarm, someone is looking into the mobile, remind them in a calmly and friendly way. So try to bring in these principles. So, first, framing your mindset and also setting up the environment and the needed tools for you to bring it under control. And there comes another question because during COVID situation, many of the parents have gifted the separate gadgets for their kids. So, how do you take a control of it? One important thing that what you could do is try to install the Google Parenting Control app. If you go to YouTube, there are so many links which is available, like how you could able to do it. So when you feel that you couldn't be able to be with your kids all along, so try to install the app and try to bring in this control. So this is an extra additional tip for you. And then the most important one is secret 3. Before I say you about the secret 3, I want to share you one more story. So there was a family who was implementing this, making sure that they have a system and rule in a place in their family to make sure that their digital screen time is not exceeding 2 hours. And they were also handling it in a calm and composed without shouting, yelling, and angry. But still, they had the situation where their child is speaking foul languages with their friends. And it is very notorious and then very angry at times. They lose their control and shout. And sometimes they try to cry and get things done. So they were little puzzled. They were thinking that bringing a control in digital things can also have a good impact on their behavior. But then there was this one important thing which missed, which is what the secret 3 I'm going to share with you. That is, It's not just the hours that matters, but the content, what they look in also matters. To make it simple for you to understand, let me ask you this question. If you allow your 10-year-old child, will you allow your 10-year-old child to walk through the street of your home alone? Most of us would say yes, right? And why do we say yes? Because we knew our child is still under our control. We knew what they are doing, and we know the environment where they are going to be there alone. So you know that there are five houses who is living in their house. We know where is there a CCTV camera. We know what kind of people live there. So you feel things are under control, and you would allow it, right? Literally. But if I ask you the same question, will you allow your child in a street which is two streets apart from where you live in alone? Will you leave your 8 to 10 years old child? The answer would be no, right? Because there is a fear. We do not know whom they will meet up to, what kind of challenges they will have. There could be fast flowing vehicles, there could be persons, there could be animals, there could be so many other challenges, right? So we wouldn't let them alone. But the real truth is each of each one of us parents, even including me, we let our children alone in this digital streets where they cross beyond your streets, beyond your city, beyond your state, beyond your nation. We do not know where they end up, what kind of content are they looking into, what kind of people's speech they hear. We don't have any control over them. Think about what the kid will consume because they are continuously in a mode of consuming things, right? When they try to look into a cartoon where a child is crying and getting things done, I do not want to name the cartoon series, but I knew many of you could able to relate. So what happens? Children automatically follows it, right? And they look into a video like where friends try to exchange foul languages. So do they feel it is abnormal? So they feel it's normal and that's the real world. So they do get confused between this digital world and the real world. And then the most important challenge is the games. Okay, videos is having such a kind of challenge. And how about the games? I think there is one cartoon, Coco Melon, if I say the name right. So there has been a research like kids who was watching this cartoon series had their brain development slowed down. Do you know why? Because our brain gets overstimulation when there is too much of colors, too much of graphics, and too much of movements. They call it as frames per second. So if there is going to be too much of changes in the screen, if you just go to Cocomelon and if you could watch, you could see like every 2 seconds, 3 seconds, a frame keeps changing. The child is always exposed to an environment which is very fast. Things are moving very fast, happening very fast. You run and pluck a fruit from a tree within a fraction of a second. You could able to jump 5 feet to 60 feet in a moment. So when the kids continuously be in this digital world, they become very impulsive. They lose their patience. The speed and the pace in which the digital world is operating is completely different from the way the real world is operating. So that is when many of the kids lose their control and they are not patient to sit in a place. If you ask nowadays the kids to study a book for half an hour, they are struggling. We as a parent now have to understand the kind of impact that is creating towards our children because of all this digital environment and help them to navigate it. So try to see. I hope now you understand the challenge of this virtual world, right? So adapting them for this real world is going to be a real challenge for them. So that's where this limitation of screen time is going to help them a lot and lot and lot. So make sure that you do this very genuinely for the next 30 days. So monitor their content, say no towards certain content where there is going to be rapid screen changes, more frames changing, vibrant colors, and constant movement, and also watch the kind of languages that is being shared. And very importantly, if your children are very young, so make sure you uninstall YouTube and give them YouTube Kids so that there is a little bit of control over the content and the languages that is being conveyed over in those videos. And also insist not to watch too much of shorts and reels for the kids because you know shorts are very smaller ones. It's not meant for kids, it's for the adults. So the rate in which people speak or the rate at which the frame movement is going to be also very high. So do not also allow that. So follow all these three secrets and try to bring down your children's screen time by half. So promise me that you will follow and share me in the comment like how it works for you. Definitely, it is always our commitment first to make the change happen in our family. So I expect this commitment from all the parents.